It's the soldier, not the reporter that fought for freedom of press. It's the soldier, not the poet who fought for freedom of speech. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer who fought for freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier who salutes the flag, who serves under the flag, and whose coffin is draped by the flag, who allows protesters to burn the flag.
Please stand for the presentation of the flags, followed by the singing of the national anthem by Josue Avalar.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Welcome to our 12th annual Hour with the Hero ceremony. We are pleased to introduce you, Tony Bowen.
Well, hello there. Hello. Just make sure all out there. Hey, well, good afternoon. And man, that light is bright. My goodness. Hey, I'm glad to be here. I know Sergeant Brown requested me be here, and I'm glad he did. He's a good man and a good recruiter. So, first off, before I get started with my notes, I wanted just to judge and see some of the knowledge that y'all have. So, what grades are we talking to here? 12th grade, first grade, second grade? Is it juniors, seniors, or what is it? Yeah, that's right. I don't think you know what grade you're in. Do you? What grade you in? How about, where's Abby Garrison at? Where you at, Abby? Come on, stand up. She in here? Hey, Abby. What grade you in? Okay, now I know what grade you're in. Thank you. She's probably thinking, who is that guy? And why does he know my name? You'll know later. So what I wanted to do is just to bring up the first slide. Y'all know what this is, right? American flag. You know, there's colors of the flag. Yes? Who knows what the colors of the flag stand for or represent? Anybody know? How about red? Nope. Close, though. Everybody says that. But that's not. There's a lot of blood that's been shed for our rights and for the great country. But what does red actually stand for? Who knows? Give it a shot. You don't know, do you? You're going to know. hardiness and courage. Okay? Hardiness and courage. How about the color white? Anybody know? Nope. Hey, that's a good thought, though, because they do raise the white flag, don't they, when they surrender? How about white? What is it? Nope. Give it a shot. Nope. Good try. Who knows? Y'all don't know, do you? It stands for purity and innocence. Purity and innocence. You know, that's why probably the reason that the wedding gowns are white, because it represents purity and innocence. How about blue? Anybody know what blue stands for? It'll make sense to you once I tell you why some of the uniforms are blue. Stands for justice. Stands for justice. So a lot of your police officers wear blue uniforms, which represents justice. Okay. So how many stripes? 13. Because of what? There you go. Now y'all clicking. Now y'all know what we're talking about. How many of them are red? 7. You got a 50-50 shot there, don't you? 7 are red. Okay. So good. Good job. So how many stars? 50. Okay. Which is, I'm going to lead into Arkansas, which I'll be asking questions about that. So go ahead and go to the next slide for Arkansas flag. So how many are around the, y'all probably can't even see that little light, can you? Can y'all see that little light? Okay, how many stars? Yeah, why 25? 25th state. Very good. Okay. Now, you notice the colors, right? They're drawn from the American flag. Why is this shape in the shape of a diamond? Natural producing diamond state. Very good. So now there's 3 stars on the bottom, right? If you'll notice, 2 of them are still are the same. One is flipped up a little, cockeyed a little bit. So what represents these 2 that are the same? They're called twin stars. Anybody know? That represents we have a sister state that came into the Union in the same year that we did, which is Michigan. Okay. Now, there are 3 stars on the bottom, which represents 2 different things. The 3 on the bottom represents the countries that we've been owned by. It's France, Spain, United States. It also represents the 3 that we was one of the 3rd states cut out of the Louisiana Purchase. Okay? So there's 1 star on the top. Anybody know? Who said that? There you go. That's exactly right. Good job. There are not many people that know that. Who knows who designed the current Arkansas flag? Anybody know? Miss Willie Hawker from Pine Bluff. Miss Willie Hawker. Okay? So, and the reason I tell you all this stuff is because you were probably taught all of this during your elementary years of high school or elementary school. And I'm sure y'all would have remembered that if you were still in elementary. But the reason I say that is because, you know, nowadays you see a lot of the American flag. You know, it's on the news a lot for different reasons. And then a lot of us don't really understand the parts of the flag or even the colors of the flag. Okay? So when the guy came up and gave his little monologue there, which is a good point. I mean, everybody has their own rights to do or feel as they want, okay? Because that's what this country's so about, is the freedom that you have. Now, do we take freedom for granted? Yes. We take a lot of things for granted. We really do. But, you know, and I think that's why they have some of these holidays, just to reflect or to remember the freedoms that we have or remember the purpose of the holidays, okay? Now, who knows when Veterans Day began? Or it used to be called something else. Say again? Armistice Day, that's right. So the definition of armistice means that you stop fighting, okay? So that was in World War I. It was the 11th hour, the 11th day of the 11th month is when armistice began. and that was between the Allies and Germany back in 1918. Okay. So, we're going to talk a little bit before all of that. We're going to talk about a guy named Francis Scott Key. You know who he is, right? You probably heard of his name. What was his profession? What did he do for a living back in 1814? Anybody know? He was a lawyer. So this lawyer had a friend that was held captive on a British ship in 1814. So he goes to this ship to work out a deal to get his friend released from being captive. So while on this ship, during the War of 1812, there was this big cannon fire and big battle going on a particular fort. Does anybody know what fort that is? There you go, Fort McHenry, during the War of 1812. So he wrote, it was originally a poem, he wrote about what he was seeing from the battleship as far as everything, all the cannon fire, the red flares, all these things that's going on at Fort McHenry, and then rose the next morning and seen that the American flag was still flying. So he wrote that back in 1814, a long time ago. So it didn't become our national anthem until when? Somebody's Googling back there. Or he's a smart guy. That's exactly right. 1931 is when it became our national anthem. And that was under President Woodrow Wilson. But this poem was wrote September 13th, 1814. And it became our national anthem March the 3rd of 1931. Which if you ever really listen to the song, it was a poem, you'll understand the meaning of the national anthem. You'll understand what he was seeing as the fight was going on at Fort McHenry. Okay? So I say all that to tell you this one little story that a guy had wrote that I'd heard, because as of right now, we got over 200,000 soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines that are deployed in over 177 countries as of today. Now, Veterans Day is a day to remember veterans, okay? Memorial Day is a day to remember what? Those that have fallen. That's what Memorial Day is. So a lot of times people get Veterans Day, Memorial Day a little mixed up, but today is to represent or to reflect on all the veterans, okay? Now, I'm standing here today on U.S. soil and not in one of these countries, in harm's way. And that's one of the things that we tend to forget is those soldiers, sailors, airmen that are in harm's way as of today and probably will be in the future. So just remember that as the day goes on. Also, I'm sure everybody in here has a family member that's probably a veteran. So if you would, and all it is a small token of your appreciation, just tell them that you appreciate their service, okay? It'll mean a lot to them. That's all you got to say. You ain't got to say anything more. And if you have family members that are married and their spouse, make sure you talk to their spouse too and thank them for their sacrifices and their support of the soldiers. Because nowadays, like I said, there's 200,000 soldiers deployed. Just think of all the families that are left alone. So it's a big price to pay. There's a lot of sacrifice. And that's what this story here is going to kind of lead you to and a little bit to understand. So about a couple of years ago, I was at Jonesboro at a unit called the 875th Engineer Battalion, and there was this speaker there. And his name was Mr. Bill Brown. He's a former Special Forces Sergeant First Class. He spoke about that we have at one time or another dreamed of being a superhero with magical or mystical powers, going out and saving the human race. You know, as you was young, you know, you thought about, I don't know what y'all thought about, but back in my day, it was the $6 Million Man. So, you know, we all wanted to be a superhero. But today, I'd like to take a few moments to talk about heroes, not superheroes, but the real heroes. A dictionary definition of a hero is a person of distinguished courage, admired for his or her brave deeds. You see, as a society, we are searching for, we are in need of heroes in our midst. Men and women that can be held up to the light. Men and women that we can hold in high esteem as models for the younger generation. Unfortunately, people often overlook the true heroes who and do walk among us each day. For you see, real heroes do not seek attention, recognition, or fame. They are quiet, humble men and women who go about their job, their chosen profession, without any expectation of recognition or praise. I'm speaking today of the warrior, the men and women who have been given the gift, sometimes the burden, of serving and of protecting our nation, our society, and our way of life. I say a gift because I believe we are all given spiritual gifts, but only a few, a small, elite number, are gifted with the warrior spirit. I am speaking today of the brave men and women who have served and are currently serving. The American patriot, the American warrior, has always answered this call. There's a Lieutenant Colonel Grossman, Jonesboro native, accomplished writer, speaker, and fellow warrior, describes a warrior like this. He says, the warrior is the one who instinctively moves toward the sound of battle. They do not run away, nor do they freeze in fear. Instead, they instinctively move to engage the enemy. These men and women step forward, raise your hand, and say, send me, I will go. Colonel Grossman also describes a warrior as a sheepdog. So you can understand this analogy. I want to tell you this for y'all's benefit. Colonel Grossman says that 95 out of 100 people are like sheep. They wander around happily, feeding, and never intentionally do harm to anyone. He says there's about 4 out of 100 that are like wolves. These wolves feed on the sheep and do harm. These are the bad people. And he says 1 out of 100 people are like sheepdogs. That's where you get the very minimum that are your true warriors. These sheepdogs, these warriors, under the authority of the great shepherd, instinctively and selflessly protect the sheep. He says the 95 never pay much attention to the sheepdog. They are happy to live their carefree lives. And they shy away from the sheepdog. They keep their distance because he is a little too rough around the edges. A little too rough as he trains and prepares for what he hopes will never come. But when the wolves do come, all 95 sheep run and hide behind the lone sheepdog. They hide as the dog, the warrior, goes out alone to do battle. At all costs, even to the point of sacrificing his or her life to protect the sheep. The 95 shudder in fear as they watch the battle unfold. And when the battle is won, the sheepdog, the warrior, limps back, licks his wounds, and begins his patrol of the perimeter, his chosen profession once again. And the sheep resume their play, their feeding, their carefree lives, and their routine of ignoring the gruff old sheepdog. So as you see, as we live our lives, most of us are like sheep, minding our own business, doing what's right, but we forget about those that are protecting us, those 200,000 that are deployed in harm's way. So never forget the sacrifices that they're given to this great country. You see, some really don't understand. They don't see the big picture. That's where you see some protesting on their own behalf, but really don't understand the history of the American way. That's why there's a lot of haters out there that hate the United States of America. It was because of our freedom and what we stand for. You know, freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed down for them to do the same. Or one day, we will spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it was once like in the United States where men were free. That quote is by Ronald Reagan. There's one thing I believe all Americans should understand if we want to continue to be a free country. And that is, some things are worth fighting for, and some things are worth dying for. You know, before I end, I want to talk to you about the definition of patriotism. That is love for or devotion to one's country. We live in the greatest country because of our forefathers fought for our freedom that we take advantage of daily. So when you're at an event and where the flag is present and the national anthem is played, please show your respect to our nation, our veterans, and those that have paid the ultimate price, which was their lives. So what a great country we live in. You know, there's some that we just don't understand how great we have it. That's why there's only a select few that really want to serve our country. You see, I've never been in battle. I haven't been in harm's way because I wasn't chosen. It's all about what job, where you're stationed, what's going on in your life at the times of the battles. You see, I've got a brother that's deployed twice and made it through. I've got a son that's deployed. I got a nephew that's deployed twice. I got a son-in-law who is deployed. So as today, that's the norm now. That's the norm that we send our soldiers to fight the battles abroad because of our freedoms. And if we don't do that, we will lose our freedom. You see, the best offense is what? The best defense. So make sure when you go home today and doing whatever you do after school, I can't remember that far back, but make sure that you seek out your family members that were veterans and say, hey, I appreciate what you did for us. Okay? Hopefully you understand why you're saying that now is because all the sacrifices that they gave in the years past. Now, we do have a few here that was in this color guard here. You seen those? There was 4 students of yours, right? 4 students. And I don't know what the body size of your class is. And I'm sure it's huge because this is a huge school. You can see how the percentage. Usually it's just less than 1% that serve. Less than 1% of the population serve in the military. So when I told that story, those 4 have the gift. That's what they want to do. They want to serve. See, back when I joined the Guard, we didn't have all the GI Bill and the college money and the bonuses and those types of things because some of us just have it in our blood and we want to serve. So if some of you are thinking of that, thinking, man, you know, I've thought about that military thing, make sure you talk to Sergeant Brown, okay? He's not going to, that's not saying you're joining, anything like that. But seek out, hey, show everybody that red, stand up and show everybody. She told me, show everybody what that is. That means I got to go in 5 minutes. So you did a good job. Good job with the 5 minutes. So, yeah, and I talked to a couple other people here, you know, that's talked about the military. Look at all of them, okay? Look at all the services because not all of them fit you. There's one that may. But a good starting point, Sergeant Brown, he'll direct you in the right spot. Who? You know what that is? Who knows what who is? Who? Come on now. Who means yeah, or who means okay. Hua means let's go. Hua means yes. Hua means I acknowledge, right? So when you go home, you talk to your parents, just give them a hua. They think, what the heck? Something's going on. Give them a good hua, okay? Hey, I appreciate y'all. Hua. I got a nice thank you card. Hua. Hey, good things in life don't come easy. They don't come easy, so you got to work hard for it. You got to prepare for it. Hua. Y'all got it now. I'm done. What are you doing? You coming out here? Come on out here. Do I need to leave?
No, you can just stand here.
What are you fixing to do? Oh, okay.
Okay. At this time, we would like to thank our veteran of the hour, Tony Bowen, for sharing his story with us. We are honored to have you here today. Presenting a special thank you is our very own Har-Ber High recruiter, Sergeant Brown.
Oh, that's a smart guy right here.
Check that out.
Let's give another round of applause to recognize all the veterans in our audience. On behalf of Har-Ber East, we thank you for attending today.
Hey, tell